So, Conjuring the Beyond. Was that title an attempt to latch onto the universe, or was that your own idea?
I
Just to
mean,
feel Conjuring the Beyond isn't bringing it in, or was it because you mentioned your distribution company sort of try and steer you a certain direction?
yeah, I mean, it's not in the writing process, no. But I am involved with coming up with those titles, which I do find to be kind of a fun project in and of itself after the movie is already done. But yeah, no doubt, right? There was new Conjuring movie coming out. What is this movie sort of like? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when people started searching for Conjuring 4, Conjuring the Beyond comes up. It just,
Yeah, some of the
worked out.
reviews, I had a look at those, and they're
I love that. I love when there's a great one where someone's like, I don't think that this was made by James Wan. It's like, oh, that's
yeah.
that's great.
Fantastic.
That's great. I mean, if they knew, I don't think I'm allowed to discuss the amount of money that we get. I could probably play an over under if you guys wanted to do that, but
higher lower, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty amazing to me. I love that.
There's people actually put reviews, and they're just like, "This is the worst entry into this franchise ever." Blah blah blah, blah. And the Warrens weren't even in it. And you're like,
"Oh, that's fantastic." I feel cheated.
I was reading them on the IMDb and stuff, and there's like people legit.
Yeah,
upset.
It was great. I got some hate mail from that, and I just really like being nice to people too. Like I refuse to argue with people. I always just thank them. But there was a woman who told me that she was really upset because she convinced her friends to watch it because it was the new Conjuring movie, and that they were mad at her. And I was like, you got some shitty friends. Like I apologize for that. I'll be your friend.
Did she watch it first?
No, she wanted to watch it with her friends. She thought it was the new Conjuring movie.
That's amazing.
So,
oh man, do you know what? That's worth it alone. Honestly, just the like real people and like I just dangle around like.
Yeah, I mean, for me, titles really don't matter. So I mean, it's kind of like when you name your cat, right? I mean, I just name a cat a nickname because I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter, But yeah,
I'm on the third Sparky and Pip over me. Here's my two birds,
right?
So, I've used that name at least 3 times, and just like, that was good. I'll just go with that.
Yeah, I think the script was written under the title Night Terrors. Because I just knew that it was going to change, that the whole marketing team was going to have their own direction, and I work with them. I mean, I came up with the title Conjuring the Beyond, but yeah, no. I mean, it wasn't written to be a Conjuring movie. Neither was my Amityville movie.
Conjuring, that's a word,
Yeah, it's hey, whatever works. It doesn't bother me at all. So
that's good. That's one thing I really appreciate. You have a sense of humor because, by rights, I take it you're not chasing Hollywood.
No, I mean, I'm pretty realistic. I like to make the movies that I want to make. I want to get better. I want to get more money to make these. I want to have more time to make these. But, what I refuse to do is do something cynically. I feel like there are a lot of directors that are in a similar position to me with other distribution companies that do straight to DVD movies that I get the sense that they get their paycheck and they are just kind of cynically making stuff. I probably won't call out any of them, but I am like earnestly.
We can all think of people.
Yeah, I am trying to make the movie that I want to make or write the story, that I want to do, and that's probably why I get a little bit more blowback from people because I think there are a fair amount of reviewers who go, what the fuck is this? The
impression I'm getting from you, there is this movie you want to make, and it's almost like you're doing these moves. You know, I mean, these are sort of coming along. It's the day job, and you've every so often you're pushing in with this, and I think you just want to make a mad bonkers, like completely satirical comedy horror. Would I be wrong?
Yeah, I think that my sense of humor comes through, and that always comes out on set. I think that's something that I have to get better at. I have way too much fun making the movie, and either in post or on set, I'll push it in a certain direction, and then I'll get blowback later from a review, and I'm like, yeah, making, in Ravenwood, making John that mean constantly was maybe a misstep on my part, but you got to understand that in the moment it was so fun to, and as someone who's an actor too, it was just too much fun to be like, no, that's, you got to be Vincent Price here. This is like a 50s movie. You got to, like, if I could give you a top hat, I would, you got to be like, tying someone to the railroad tracks. And then the reviews come out, right? And people are like, oh, he's bad from the beginning. It's like, oh, well, it was way too much fun to not do that.
We can see that though. I think I'll see that with a couple of, there's this part. You're breaking out into the, it's being played straight, and then you jump in there with something bonkers.
Right.
Or it is taking the piss, and you can just tell, right, he's having a laugh. But I can sense this level of frustration with you. There's something you want to make, and it's not happening with these movies. You've something going on in there, and it's sort of come out in each one of them, and you want to get that. I can kind of tell you want to get that all together into one project.
Yeah, and I mean there are a lot of factors to that. I mean, part of that is just like getting better too. I mean, I think the newest one that just came out and the one that I'm in post on, I mean, they clearly get better. The more money we get, the more, time is the big one, I mean, that's why, Mutant Vampires is definitely the way it is, because I mean, the amount of time that we had to actually shoot that was just like, we're up for 24 hours.
Can you actually, like, with how long it's been since the release, is there, can you tell us how long you were able to shoot for?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, Mutant Vampires though wasn't funded by the distribution company. That was the last time that I was trying to build this rapport with them. But Mutant Vampires, I think, was like 7 days. It was like nothing.
Damn.
We didn't see the location beforehand. We didn't, we didn't know. There was no time to scout. There was no time to do anything really. There were things within the script that I wanted to do. I did want to go inside of the spaceship. I mean, that was part of the script. But, judging by, obviously, we had this studio, right, that we had opened in Portland that's no longer around, but we decided to green screen the windows of the car, and it's like, oh God, that looks terrible, So it was like, well, fuck that. I'm not gonna do this interior of a spaceship on green screen. I there was just no fucking time to do it.
Yeah, I mean that's a short fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like God, last short that I worked on, it was probably like 14 days shooting. And that was just a little short, so that's insane that you were able to pump that out.
Conjuring was 12 days. Ravenwood was 12 days. And then these newer ones, we finally got enough money to do 14 days. And this last one that I'm in post on was the first time that we ever had enough money to do a load-in day, where we could actually load gear in and not start shooting that day. I mean, Conjuring, we got to that school and immediately I'm like, okay, we need to load all this stuff in and get this, but you got to get the crane up because we got to get her coming in through the front doors. I mean, like, we shot the front doors, her coming in with Victor, like an hour within loading in all the gear and then like building
and that doesn't give you a minute to breathe. And I think that's what we're noticing. It does come across on screen.
There's no moment to breathe at all.
And that's not good, man.
Yeah, the choice.
How do you go about funding? Is it primarily private backers or do you crowdfund?
It's right now it's the distribution company gives us the funding to make it in exchange for them owning a majority of the rights, the ability to rename it, to kind of do what they want with it, which, being at this, I mean, I'm extremely thankful for that. I also know that working in business, that it's like, you get the deals that you can. It doesn't always sound great, but people are always like, well, Martin Scorsese doesn't have to compromise, and it's like, well, I'm not. Nobody here is Martin. There's only one.
How long did it take him to become Martin Scorsese? You know what I mean? Everyone's
right. So you work with the cards you're given, and you do the best you can with it. So I mean, I don't mind it. I don't mind working at that pace. I think that it's probably the thing that we have up on some of the other people that are probably trying to get the same position. So
yeah, I mean, being able to adapt into that immediately, that's a huge point in your favor.
Yeah, it's giving me a whole new appreciation. But that was the thing about these. I can tell what you want to do, and that's why we've happily reviewed, watched them and happily paid money for them, and that's always the thing when when you're prepared to rent or buy a movie, you know that you're invested. I can see what you're trying to do. And I can tell that there's something holding you back. There's something getting in the way. And bloody time, there you go. If you're just balls to the wall trying to pump us out, God, you don't even have a chance to review or tidy anything up. And
no,
God, fair play to you. No, honestly, fair play to you for doing it. So, if you were given an unlimited budget, would you want to go back and remake a previous movie the way you envisioned it, or would you prefer to start fresh with a new story?
Fresh. I mean, I don't want to do any like sequels or I really enjoy writing. I write all the time. I don't have any delusions that I'm like a great writer or anything like that, but I just like storytelling. I've just always liked telling stories in one way or another since I was a kid. So, I mean, I always get there's always this little germ of an idea that, kind of pops up out of nowhere. So I think that, if someone gave me $1 million, I would do something new, just move on. You kind of also have to just accept the movie as it is, warts and all. You kind of have to love it for that reason,
Well, I'm probably going to
the fact that it got released, it's a miracle.
There's certain Uncle George fell in that trap where he just couldn't leave it alone, and he poked and he poked and he poked and he poked, and then his beloved franchise in the state it's in now, with only a couple of handful of crazy fans,
right? Yeah, Romero.
I mean,
No,
I
don't. I mean,
No, I'm not talking about George Romero.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Uncle George.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to get him. We're going to speak to you now, you bastard.
Hey, man, I'm a Star Wars fan. Star Wars fans are the worst thing for Star Wars, so I get it.
Yeah. It's the same with my first book. It was friggin' it's bugging me because there's something wrong with it, but the halfway point, and it's not right. And I keep having this temptation to just go back and rewrite everything, or to just leave that as, okay, that was my first entry out there and just carry on. But then something sticks in the back of your head. It's like, I wanted to finish that. It wasn't quite what I envisaged, but I wanted to get out there as well. It's bloody annoying. Do you find that as a creative, that's something you have to fight with all the time? Just, what you want to get out there, but reality just kind of crashes in on you.
Totally. Yeah. But I don't know. I think I have, and maybe just from working with this company, I have an easier time now just kind of saying, well, I have confidence that this is at least going to lead to the next one, and it'll get better. I feel a little bit like Ed Wood in those moments, if you've seen that movie, or about Ed Wood, where it's like the worst movie you've ever seen. Well, the next one will be better. I kind of have that attitude about stuff. So, and a lot of times I can just go, okay, it's It's done. It's what it is. Hopefully people find some enjoyment out of it. Mainly I just want people to have fun with them. I mean, if they want to goof on it, that's fine. But as long as people are having
people watching and talking about it, and
Yeah.
like there's, like I said, there's movies I've watched, and I'm like, God, I'm not even going to talk about that. There's movies I've got 10 minutes into and went flick off, done.
Yeah, definitely
And
been there.
I think I was talking about it on Friday when you were on, when I was reviewing Evil Dead Rise. The ads that come on before the movie, I'm just like going, never watching that, never watching that, never
Right.
watching that. So you can understand goofing on that people are actually invested in your plot.
Yeah.
Talking about what was the overall idea for Conjuring the Beyond? What was the kind of story you're wanting to tell?
Yeah, I mean, well, the germ of the idea, it was right after Ravenwood, and Breaking Glass wanted to do another film, and I felt like, okay, I gotta figure this out now before it gets cold, before they forget about me.
Yeah.
And I was actually working on. Usually, how it works is I kind of do a bunch of drafts for scripts that I'll send them and say, "What about this?" And I was working on basically what the movie that I did right after it, which was Pillow Party Massacre, and I had my
for a movie.
that was my title. That was my title. The title came before the movie, but I was obviously really stressed out, and for the first time in my life, I had sleep paralysis, and I thought, oh, that would be an interesting like Hammer Frankenstein movie. It was the first thought that I had, because in those films it follows the doctor and he's either transferring the soul or he's doing all these new things. I thought, oh, sleep paralysis, that would be fun for Dr. Frankenstein. And then just kind of on a whim, I started jotting that out and kind of just basically structuring it. And I mean, it was really fast, while the idea was hot, and also just needing to get something over to them that they would bite on. And that's basically where it originated, was kind of this Dr. Frankenstein story, which was kind of going into it what I envisioned, and then as it went along, it kind of became more of just more of a supernatural idea all around. It really evolved as we did it.
Yeah, because it looked like you were trying to write a mystery at the beginning, because that's what kind of confused me about the opening scene. We had Chester, I was Chester in the bed, the opening scene. And then we hear nothing about him until a news article.
Yeah.
And then there was no payoff. I was like, what was this, the mystery that was going to be solved, or what was happening there?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think that opening scene, at least in my mind, this is my justification for it, I think it serves three purposes. Number one,
it's not about justifying or anything.
Right.
It's just I'm genuinely interested in the story.
Right.
If I don't pick up beats, fair enough. The way I give reviews is just basically as soon as the thing finishes, I'm online streaming as if it's talking with the mates. No, it's kind of the way I like to give reviews rather than nitpicking anything. But I was a bit confused about the whole Chester thing.
The movie needed to start off with a horror scene, number one, and then number two, I mean, really the revelation that I wanted from that was that there were past experiments, and maybe it doesn't really click in, but that was kind of like, oh, that's why there's security cameras, because people would disappear. He's had this happen before. He can't let people go home. Now he's got to keep their keys because people will end up disappearing, and that's why his experiments as they've gone on have been a little bit more controlled. That was really the revelation that I wanted, was the guy in the beginning was like a past participant of the study, but it's probably not clearly as fleshed out as it should have been. But that was the idea.
Totally get it now.
Yeah, because it was the connected to Victor for who, by the way, I have awarded the most annoying character of the movie award to.
I shared that with everyone, and they all said, "Really?" Because Victor was so small, and then on
It
set,
was going to be Wanda. It was going to be Wanda because of the opening scene. But then she completely turned once she got to the school and started.
Right.
She completely flipped her character.
Yeah.
For the opening scene, Wanda was going to get there and oh god, here's the freaking oh god, am I going to have to suffer? Like the other girl's character in the last one, Jax or whatever.
Right.
Right.
Star.
She was like,
Yeah.
oh god, right. If I ever met her, and that character, not obviously
Right.
we draw the line between the character's not the actor, etc.
Right.
Because there's a lot of stupid people out there don't get that. They can't make a separation between somebody playing a part and a character. You can pan on the character because that's the way they're meant to be. If they're meant to be annoying, that's the character. Doesn't mean it's the person.
Right.
But, there's a lot of fucking idiots out there, unfortunately. So have to make that distinction. But Wanda at the start was like, oh my god, this is a brat. This just can't tear her own shoelaces. And then she just flips and becomes the reason one and that. So, but Victor, I don't know. To me, he should have been the main character, as in dealing with the participants.
Yeah.
And he appears for like 2 scenes.
Man.
And if he's connected to Chester, he's not trying to solve a mystery himself.
Right.
He's just there to get
there for a fucking paycheck, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny because Victor was very not a part of the script, even to shooting. But Victor is played by Eric Skybach, who is he's actually my AC. He's been my assistant director, and he's not really an actor by trade. I enjoy working with him. I think that he's a better actor than he gives himself credit for. But so we added like all these scenes for him. I mean, he was basically the role of like the creepy caretaker who brings someone in and then takes the keys and is gone. And it was like, oh, it's too much fun. Let's keep him around. Let's bring him back.
No, it was perfect.
Yeah, but then that's where I got confused. Like I said about the initial opening was Chester Fair, Victor Fair, and you're like, okay, if he was just acting the part, to then go, I'm trying to find out what happened to my brother.
Yeah. No, he's got babes at the bar, man.
Yeah,
he's gonna score a threesome.
Yeah, right.
So
he's
distracted by movies.
Yeah. Actually, one of which is the sleep paralysis demon. One of those girls.
Oh shit! I didn't even catch that. That's fucking funny.
I have to say though, the demon was done brilliantly. Like the makeup and the way she was done was fantastic. I tell you one thing you do really well, mate, are your props and your costumes.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something you are on point with. Like your visuals that makes it enjoyable.
Good.
Well, with this one, like visually, like this one was probably the most, I guess, cleaned up of all of them. Like visually, it was beautiful.
Good.
Like I was like my first note that I made was like, oh my god, this shit looks like super cinematic.
And actually, for once, not just you, but I've noticed a lot of horror movies, right? They use generic drone shot, right, for the atmosphere coming in, and then it goes to SCSI camera. Well, this one, when the drone shot over the lake, and that actually matched with the outdoor shot when
luckily
Wanda arrived. And I'm like, oh, finally, because I am sick of that. I am sick of super crystal clear drone shot. And then when it actually gets on the ground.
Luckily, I work for a company called Portland Drone. So we don't have to like buy drone shots. We actually have like a legit drone crew that comes out because I'm like a camera operator on drones. So like same thing in Ravenwood, same thing in Mutant Vampires, like all those drone shots we can actually do and match. So that's just kind of like a little benefit that we have.
No, well, that's good to see because it happens in so many movies, like especially independent ones that do, and even mainstream movies. You see it; they do the beautiful drone shot, then it goes into the actual set, and it just looks so different. You're like, what the hell's going on? Yeah. It's like two things are just being slammed together. Right. And it's refreshing to actually see that.
Yeah, we can actually set the settings. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's learned to press the buttons.
Yeah.
What was the point of the first scene with Wanda anyway? Because it seemed to be that bit could have been told when they arrived at the. Could have given you a bit more time in the school.
Yeah,
if you hadn't had that opening scene.
I don't know, man. I got it. Like I believed it. It made sense as to why she was just gonna bounce off to some strange place for a week just to get some money. Like I believed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the reasoning for that is probably a lot. It doesn't really have much to do with the story, honestly. I mean, one, it kind of comes from the reviews from Ravenwood, where we did shoot all this other stuff with John and China, and then being a loving couple, and then getting to the house, and in post, it was like, nobody's gonna give a shit about this. Let's just get to the spooky house. And then people
kind of needed that.
And then people were like, no, I wanted other locations. I wanted this. So that was part of it. That opening scene, there's a lot of inspiration that comes from the movie The Haunting too. So I kind of wanted that aspect to it. I wanted like a diversity of locations within it. So yeah, I mean, I think that it was like a little bit of an attempt to make it look a little bit bigger. I think that, yeah, if you're just in a single location, which we almost always are because of budget reasons and time reasons, people catch on to that quick. So anytime I can work in other locations, I really, really try to. So.
Yeah, because we've got the thing of just setting up, because I think because the other three characters didn't get the same kind of setup to come in. So I'm kind of like, maybe spend more time on that. Then we could have got to know all four characters at the sort of maybe a bit more of a level.
Yeah.
Because already going, okay, here's the final girl.
Right.
Which,
yeah.
Spoilers, not quite that simple.
Yeah.
Which was cool as well. But yeah, just especially when you're talking about your time constraints and all, the additional scenes, it doesn't seem like you have the luxury of them. The footage
not at all.
You want.
Not at all. Yeah, I mean,
you think you should build up a rapport with this company? They're going to maybe give you a bit more freedom.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's.
I think it's something you have to build up to then, and get,
It's slowly building. Yeah, I think that as long as the movie that just came out, as long as that does well, and the one that I'm on post on, as long as it does well, the budgets do go up with each film, and we do get more time, and then also just learning from my own mistakes with it and going, I need more time for this kind of stuff. But I mean, the opening with Chester Fair is shot in the exact same house that's Wanda's brother. It's just in a room that we never went in. So we shot all that at the same time in 2 days. It was like shoot all of the scenes with Wanda and her brother and shoot the Chester Fair stuff, and let's get out of here.
All right. Yeah, because it did seem to be setting up as a murder mystery or a mystery to be solved. And I think maybe if the scene had taken place in the school on one of the beds, it might have been like, oh, right, this has happened before. I think that's what the disconnect is, just the scene. And
that's what I wanted to do, but it was like paying for that actor to come, because we usually shoot pretty far outside of Portland. And it was like, oh my God, like I don't have the money to get Daniel Donlin up there for 1 day to shoot. It was like, oh, fuck it. We've already got this house, let's just shoot it here.
Yeah. For one, that's good to see. Right. In movies, the doctors need to wear stethoscopes just to.
Yes, that is something I will die on that hill. If they don't have a stethoscope, they're not a fucking doctor. Period.
He uses it. He uses it twice.
Just the way,
exactly.
Just casually has a slug over his shoulder, but he's in the bar as well. You're like, really, bit?
Oh, he's picking up chicks. He's picking up chicks, man.
Exactly.
Is that where I've been going wrong on my life? I just have the old stethoscope just in the top. I love the way the actual bell's in the top pocket as well. Just fuck it.
you know,
fucking brilliant.
when you have no money and you can like really flesh out a costume like that, you're really proud of it. So it's like, ooh, look at this. We've got stethoscopes for our doctors, and they're
We're
gonna
gonna
use them.
use them.
Yeah. Oh
Fuck
yeah.
yeah, why wouldn't you? Shit.
And that scene with Victor in the bar was like it was like added the day before we decided to do that. There was a bar in town. We had some off hours. I walked down there and I said, "Hey, can I come in early tomorrow and shoot something here?" You know, and so I mean, it's not like they're like, "Well, shit, he's got to wear the same costume, right? Let's just put him in his doctor thing. He's picking up chicks."
No,
know?
I totally believed it with that character that's how he would go out and about in like, you know, the outside world. So
yeah, he's a piece of shit. You know, he doesn't care.
That's why I put a note here. Should the character not have been Chester Pretorius instead of Fur? Would that not have tied in a bit better?
No,
you know,
I don't know.
You said that. I thought that was funny. Yeah, I had never thought about that.
And the doctor's like trying to find his brother, and that's why he's bringing all these people in to replicate the experiment that happened that went wrong.
I kind of liked him being a little bit more Dr. Frankenstein-esque. I mean, I remember working with Steve and telling him, you know, like it's same thing with Frankenstein. I always kind of question like what's Frankenstein doing? He's just got this this drive to find something out. He's not doing it for monetary gain. I mean, he's not going to like publish his preliminary notes when he figures out how to create life out of dead bodies. He's just doing it because he's almost like a drug addict. Like as a filmmaker too, I always tell people that Frankenstein is my spirit animal. Like I don't really know what it is that I'm chasing. I'm just in the lab. So I think that Pretorius
that really comes across, mate. I'll be honest.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just a mad scientist,
which I actually enjoy. You know, I know I love riffing on it, but I actually enjoy that aspect, just the bonkers, because you know, you're just throwing something. You're just like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, this is gonna work. I swear. You know, that's what people will probably hear from me more often than not, because they're very long shoots, and you'll kind of rally the troops and go, "You guys, this is gonna work out. Just trust me."
Do you do any extras? No, the physical copies, like the Blu-rays or anything? Do you put a lot of the extras in, or maybe you know what? That could be your stick. Honestly, at the start of each movie, guys, this is going to work out this time.
Yeah.
You know, I can just see a whole theme for your movies, and I know for one thing, I'd be just like, here we go again.
Yeah. No, I mean, you guys have to do the next one too. That's why I can't.
No, it's already queued up.
Yeah,
I was actually while we were sitting here talking about it, I was looking up. You guys aren't doing a physical release for Pillow Party Massacre, are you?
It was supposed to. That's another thing with the distribution company. You know, physical media doesn't sell super well.
Yeah.
So I think
unfortunately it is pretty niche.
Conjuring got one, Amityville got one. If the numbers come back to where they're like, we're not gonna lose money on printing Blu-rays, they'll do it.
I'll need to get that link. Actually, when I was speaking to Acrostar, the guys at the Acrostar, they use a print on demand service.
Yeah, and we've done that. Yeah, we've done that with our past ones, like with Ravenwood. You know, we did our own DVDs to take to conventions and stuff when we're invited. But as of now, it doesn't look like it with Pillow Party. It could certainly change, I think, if it does well enough. But unfortunately, yeah, I haven't really gotten to do any extras or any commentaries on them because they kind of come out.
Well,
that's the
unfortunate thing is like the days of, you know, extras. It's like, unless you're paying for that shit out of your own pocket, it's not
right.
gonna happen.
And I mean, I have a huge like physical media library. I mean, I have an entire room in my house that's just my VHS and DVD collection, you know, so I love it, but I get that it, you know, people don't buy DVDs anymore. Yeah. It sucks.
It's nerds like us.
Yeah, it's just people like me, you know.
Same.
Yeah, that's like love doing loved an unboxing video with like, oh, I just got this collection again, yay! You know, it's
Right.
the other one's missed the physicality. I think it's going to make a resurgence. It's a bit like vinyl. I think it's going to make a comeback because
that's fuck VHS is, which is insane to me.
Oh yeah, you can get loads of special edition VHS and stuff. And it's okay.
Yeah, I go to VHS swaps all the time in Portland.
Oh man, I wish we had that out in this area, but I'm pretty sure my wife's glad that we don't have that out in this area.
Right.
I'm a sucker for VHS. Like it's shit quality, but man, there's just something so magical about having that bigger art and just this brick in your fucking hand. It's like, yes, this is a film I'm gonna watch.
Yeah,
something. Because that's where horror. We talked about back in the rental stores, you know, Blockbuster over your side, Extravision over here and stuff. It was the horror posters with the striking ones. The horror section at the back, sometimes behind curtains, right next to the porn.
Yeah.
Right.
Always. I'm looking at the horror. I'm watching people dismembered. Honestly, I'm nothing wrong here. You know.
Yeah.
In fact, you get better porn in horror movies, I think, than porn movies.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's why I say, you know, I'm always saying that it's sort of a child's genre, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way, because, you know, at least my experience was going to the movie rental stores, and that's the section that calls to, you know, kids. You know, when you're 9, the horror section, you look at all the covers and you're like, oh, what's this? What's this? This is gonna be great.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Physical, if no other genre, at least in the horror one, that's where physical media still has a chance, because it's God, that was the best artwork of anything. Horror movies can be absolutely awful, but they seem to always have the best covers.
Yeah, totally.
I've been sucked in more than enough.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
I'm gonna watch that. Oh shit! What am I watching?
Right.
I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the thing. You're saying Pretorius more of a Frankenstein character. It's strange the way he was sitting, like, having a drink with the participants and stuff and being so sort of forward and open. To me, he should have been more of a in the shadow sort of character, and that's where Victor. Now, I've obviously explained the whole the reason why, but Victor should have been like the link between the participants and Dr. Pretorius, who's like almost behind the curtain going, wah, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Pretorius was just too fun to write. And I mean, I probably should have cooled it on him. Even the actor, Steve Larkin, was like, Jesus Christ, mate. I can't, you know? But I mean, like I said, I take a lot of inspiration from the Frankenstein movies, where he is like the main character. He's kind of friendly to get what he wants. Also a little bit of like Richard Johnson from Zombie. You know, I just wanted him to kind of be a part of the group in a way. I wanted him to be kind of like this trailer trash version of a scientist, you know. His dad was I think I told him that I was like, you know, I think Pretorius comes from a very long line of very successful doctors and scientists, and you're kind of, you know, you've probably been told since you were a kid, you'll never get rich on pure research. So that's why he's like smoking inside and drinking, and he's you know, he's a little bit of an enigma. But he was just too fun. I mean, he was too fun to leave out of scenes, you know? So,
is that the trap you fall into? You just like, do you know what? We're having fun here. Stuff. Script. Yeah, let's.
Yeah, I mean, it was part of the script. It came out in the writing, really. It was just like, I can't leave Pretorius out of this. I mean, he's got the funniest voice out of anyone to me, you know? Writing all of his psychobabble was great.
He's such an interesting character, and like even just visually, like the way he uses his face, it's like you can't help but be drawn to him. So definitely a smart move to have him like more in the forefront than in the background.
Yeah, and Steve is great. Steve is actually the mutant vampire too. So
fucking A.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, a foreigner.
Yeah,
that
that's
was
what
our.
I'm doing. Now when I'm watching your movies, I'm like, right, same.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the joke in Mutant Vampires, was because he's from the UK. He moved here a couple of years ago, and we're like, you know, you're perfect as the mutant vampire because you're a foreigner who's trying to get acclimated to Earth. You know, you show up, you see this axe murderer, you just think that this is how the planet behaves. You know, it's really a story about trying to assimilate to a culture.
Hell yeah.
Is what we
Yeah,
said.
my assimilation didn't go that well. That's why I'm back here.
Because you didn't grab an axe. You should have grabbed an axe.
If only. We'll not talk about that. There's a few occasions. Yeah, I think I said other Wanda, she had an interesting redemption arc. Like the way you set her up initially, the way she became, was that intentional or was it just the way she played it?
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I kind of always like the idea. Like I said, I usually do things that are like a little bit of like this family unit kind of falling apart. And I always like the idea. I think that it's in most of the films, or at least it's there a little bit, that like kind of the person who's the weakest is the one who steps up the most in moments of crisis. I think especially within like a family unit. I kind of like that redemption story. It's never the toughest one who kind of figures it all out. It's always like the tougher people seemingly that fall apart first. So yeah, that was always planned for Wanda to solve the mystery, to be kind of level-headed, to, you know, not just want to run away or, you know, wanting to fix the problem. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely designed to be that way. I think it probably works better here than in some of the previous films. And I think that was just like a learning curve, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the thing I was skeptical because you were coming on the show. I didn't want to be, you know, I mean, I want to give an honest review.
No, you can hit me with both barrels, man. I enjoy it.
What I'm saying is, though, is I did notice the change in this one. I did notice a change in the sort of style, and you definitely see the come together. Obviously, bringing up points that came, but I didn't want to just be, oh, I have to pan on this because I've got to stay in character, because that's not awesome either.
No, and you can.
I enjoyed this. I enjoyed the way this came together. And like I say, my frustrations are, I can see the sort of mystery story there,
right,
and it didn't get paid off.
Yeah,
and but I could see a story where, like, with Mutant Vampires, it was just kind of all over the place. It was like, what is actually happening? And I couldn't latch onto any threads that carry me through.
Yeah, Mutant Vampires is, I mean, more or less just supposed to be, you know, like a Don Doller film. It's just kind of like a dumb slasher, but, you know, once again, it's like, this has just got to be fun, was my focus with that. And then, you know, Ravenwood was more like, I've just always wanted to do like an old 50s, old dark house movie. And then I think Conjuring was the first time that I was really like, okay, you know, this isn't just something that I've been dying to do since I got my one chance. So it was maybe a little more fleshed out of an idea. And then we learned stuff.
See it. You can definitely see it. The ideas there and the stories there. And fair play to you for, you know, those times. Schedules are brutal.
Yeah.
You can't do anything.
Right.
Well, and you know, it's we're just always learning stuff. I mean, even with Conjuring, like, you know, it was apparent in editing where I'm like, gosh, this is really a tale of two halves. And, you know, it probably takes too long to get going here. And that's why in the next one, there was way more emphasis on just like starting the action and pillow party and not letting up. And with this one, I mean, those are the notes that I've been getting, is that the pacing is getting better. You know,
dude, that's one of the notes I made on my end was like the pacing just felt perfect.
On this one,
it was on board.
Yeah, like it was nice and solid. Like it didn't linger more than it needed to.
I feel like it's too slow, but you know, yeah, you learn from that stuff. And it's funny, I did want to bring it up just to backtrack. I mean, you know, I take everything, all the notes that I get from reviews from you guys to heart. in Ravenwood, I remember the review that you guys did where Cameron, I think you said about, because I cut the lav when the character is far away. And then I think you said, like, I'll buy you guys a second lav, just so you have it, And the sound guy was all pissed off that I cut the lav. But I can remember in editing going, well, she's far away and out of focus, and he's close, and she sounds so close. Maybe I ought to cut it. And then, now going into post, anytime I have that thought, I'm like, they're kind of far. This character's far away. Should I make them sound further away? I'm like, nope, no, because that's on the. So we always do take that kind of stuff to heart. So
it's fact that you can take away where you can't add on. So if you have it, you can reduce and play with it. But if you don't have it there, because that was about the stir scene just took me out of it. I was like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah. And I can
another,
remember thinking too. Thinking like, oh well, they're further away. I need to. I'll just use the boom here, which is a little further away, but our perspective has changed. And those are just like learning curves that you just figure out, and you don't know until somebody points it out and says, what the fuck
if
is
you want
this?
example
That's a
of
hard
a
part
major
with
learning curve, look at this channel.
Yeah.
Go back to the early
one of the hard
episodes.
That's one of the hard parts when it comes to like being face first in any form of art. Like, you are too close to it to catch that shit. So yeah, it's important to have be able to take in outside perspectives. Like, I wouldn't be where I am artistically if it wasn't for the fact that I fucking listen to everything everybody says about my shit. It's like, that's how you progress. I know there's a lot of people that hate that shit, but it's like, why would you hate that? It's like, that's the whole point, is to have something that's acceptable to multiple people, not just yourself.
Right. You can't be thin-skinned.
I've as well for my stuff. I've had my stuff panned, and it's fair enough as long as there's a reason given.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can't stand people just, oh, fucking shit. You don't fucking make a movie.
That shit's stupid.
That's, you don't listen to people like that. That's fucking, that's just an arsehole. But if somebody's like, I didn't like this, and back to what I said, as long as you're not chasing Hollywood and calling people alt-right istophobes because they don't like a movie or don't like an aspect of it, oh, you're a Nazi. It's like, yeah, mate, okay. Calm yourself.
Yeah. I think it also helps that, like, I started off as an actor very young. I also came from the theater. So I'm no stranger to, you would go into an audition and people would just be like, hey, you're just not tall enough, Sorry. So you get pretty thick-skinned pretty quickly. But yeah, there are a lot of artists, even around here that I know who, are mortified of getting a movie released just because someone is going to say something negative. And it's like, well, you'll learn from it, or playing sports too. That was another thing you learn. It's like, people will just tell you suck. You got to get better at something, You gotta take it.
We've had trolls in this. It's the minute you step above the parapet, and I always have respect. Anyone that is prepared to stick their head above there and go, this is what I'm making, I'm putting out in the world, always has my respect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're all about independent creators trying to push people onwards. It's not about shutting folks down. It's like, if you become a super high-rated director and you spend some time with us along your journey, fair play to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing but admiration for doing it. We need more creators, especially when you see the corporate sludge that is pumped out on a daily basis with no imagination whatsoever. How can you, fault anyone for trying? We need more creators. I deal with a lot. We'll obviously deal with a lot of authors as well, and that's a real toxic environment.
Mm-hmm.
And people are afraid to put pen to paper and put something out there because there's those petty-minded arseholes that will tear someone down because of their own insecurities or jealousy.
Yeah.
And there's no need for it.
Yeah. And it comes with the territory, These movies are fun to goof on. It's made for very, very, very little money.
And that's the fun of the horror genre.
Right.
And the thing is, watch what does it do? Minimum like 3 movies a week.
Yeah.
not everything's going to. Well, I wouldn't want anything to be Oscar worthy anyway, because the Oscars are absolute shite.
Right. Well, and it's
Um,
the fact that people still even believe that that's an unbiased thing, and you don't pay for those awards, is just insane to me.
Yeah,
Right.
and these American terms all big circle jerk, and that doesn't inspire me whatsoever.
No, I mean, cult status is really where it's at anyway. I mean, you would much rather have a small group of dedicated, like, devoted fans who appreciate you,
They're with you 10 years, 20 years down the line.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a hard time even working on bigger sets sometimes, just because it's too up its own ass, so.
Yeah, couldn't be annoyed with that. And that's one thing I don't get. There's no sense of pretentiousness about these. Which I've watched some movies and they're just so far. In fact, A24 kind of teeters right under that pretentious arsehole. Some of our stuff's good, but then there's other stuff you're just like, oh my god, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Get off your high horse. And it just takes me out of the zone, that I have no excitement or even panning on it for comedy's sake. They just end up going, I'll forget about it 5 minutes after it's done. No, it's you definitely don't want to be there. One thing in this, actually, I have to say, there's the dancing scene, right?
Oh yeah,
fucking loved it.
I was one time on this channel. There's a local bar down the road from me near the cinema, and I called in once. It was after the movie because I went to see a matinee showing. I think it was Men, talking about A24.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn, right? Honestly, and I think, fuck, I need a pint after that.
Right.
And it was like 5 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and I went in. The bar is practically empty, and there's just sort of group at the bottom. Then about 6 people come in, and they all just start dancing with each other, and then they turn up the fucking boogie box, and I'm just like going, "What the hell's going on here?" That scene just brought me back that moment. And then during that time in the bar, the one creepy dude, the one creepy dude in the bar you don't make eye contact with. Well, of course, stupid me happened to have somehow glanced his direction, and then he starts sitting in one seat, and then he starts edging his way down. I'm like, fucking look, I'm out of here. Yeah. I don't need that shit. That gave me a flashback, that scene. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, some of the reviews have made fun of that, and it's hilarious. Yeah, and to be honest, I can't honestly remember if that was a part of the script or not. I want to say that definitely Jax and John were supposed to be dancing. It may have been a little more. No, I think it was always a little bit like that. I think I wanted it to be kind of this obnoxious dancing. I just really wanted to separate Wanda from the group. So it was like, how,
you wanted her to be able to talk to Pretorius? Is that?
Yeah, and that they're right. The rest of the group is like kind of fun loving and goofy, and they're able to just like be friends. So unfortunately, nobody was good dancer.
Yeah, but is anybody really a good dancer?
So.
Oh god, I've tried to throw shapes after a few pints in the football. I got told that I'm never allowed to pole dance again, like back in the early days.
Right.
Apparently that's a tragedy to behold. So
no, yeah. And John really, I think, embraced obviously like the being a bad dancer in that scene with his moves.
Yeah, it was so fucking good. I'm not gonna lie, I was laughing and applauding.
Good. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it just brought me back that time in the bar. Like I've talked about in the show, right? I was just like, oh shit, I'm back there again. You took me back that moment of going, fuck, someone's going to sit. I'm just waiting for somebody to sit beside me on the sofa, like randomly, take the seat and try and fucking talk to me or something.
Right. Yeah. You're Wanda in that moment. Some people are Wanda. Some people are Captain Turtleneck.
Fuck yeah.
Some people like
that was also one of my notes was just all caps, motherfucking Captain Turtleneck. As soon as he walked in wearing that turtleneck, it was hands in the air screaming, and my wife's looking at me like I'm a fucking idiot. I was like,
you know why he wore a turtleneck in this one? Because you guys called him Captain Turtleneck in Ravenwood.
Dude,
and he loved it. Yes,
he
loved it. He loves it.
Yeah,
I was
like,
Willie.
there's no way in hell this is an inside joke.
It is now.
That is fucking beautiful, and it was definitely appreciated.
Yeah, because we shared amongst ourselves the Ravenwood one, and he loves it. He's also he's like me, where things just really roll off his back, and I think he would much rather have people dogging on him than not talking about him at all. So
yeah, I know, of course.
I know that he loved it, and that's why in this one he's got like the really gaudy sweater.
Oh,
I think
God, it was so beautiful.
I think he went out and bought that for the movie too. He was like, all right.
Oh, brilliant! That's
amazing.
classic. Honestly, I've been looking forward to future movies just to be like, yes.
He makes an appearance in Pillow Party, but he's not. He's wearing his normal costume in that one.
I think you need to do like a pure comedy, maybe as a side project.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean, this is your bread and butter. This is getting you established and regular work for your friends and crew. But I think you want to make a horror comedy. I know you do. I can.
Oh yeah.
You want to make an absolute goofball of a movie that's just bonkers from start to finish, and you're fighting. I can see these movies. You're fighting against yourself, like the whole way through, and I can appreciate it. No, I can appreciate the struggle. And that's actually what I enjoy, and I enjoy riffing on it because it's like I know what you want, and I think when you do get that point, you're just gonna create something mad.
Yeah, that's what the acquisitions department has said with Breaking Glass, is that the guy who's kind of the head of that department, when I talked to him on the phone, he's like, I think I understand what your sense of humor is like through your movies. You have I feel like I understand what makes you laugh just from watching the films. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I really do go into it thinking that I'm not going to do that, and then it just comes out. It's too much fun on set to not have a laugh with at least a certain aspect of something. So I have a hard time. I mean, I probably need a wrangler, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, just someone to understand. That's why I think you need that outlet. I think you need a side project. I think you need it either crowdfunded or purely on the side. That's what you want to make.
Right.
And make that's where your that excess energy you have, put into that, and I think you will create something glorious. Really, I can just see it. I get your sense of humor, and I can see you fighting against yourself with these movies. That you what you want to do is not happening, and maybe I was mistakenly thinking that maybe the actors aren't on board with your vision. It's almost like, you want me to do what?
No, they trust me. Unfortunately, they do trust me.
It's weird because like the sex scene in this movie seemed a bit kind of just thrown in for fun because it wasn't getting any flirtation between Margot and Porter.
Yeah,
that
was sad. Yeah,
bumping against each other, and then all of a sudden they're having sex. It's like,
I mean, that's the real life, man. That's how it goes.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I kind of thought that. I don't know. That kind of seems to be a trope sometimes, that you have these two people who are attracted to each other, but they bicker and fight. I mean, that's kind of like right in high school. I don't know. Usually the girl that maybe that was just me, but that you kind of have beef with in class is the one where there's at least like a sexual attraction. And I was kind of hoping that maybe it came across that they kind of like each other. They're probably not going to get married, but there's an attraction between them. I mean, that was set up to be that way, and I wanted it to be a very non-sexy sex scene. Actually, it was also kind of played for laughs a little bit. I also wanted to see
John's face. He's just like, okay.
Yeah.
She's trying her hardest, and it's like, somebody's not into this.
Yeah, I think, and I don't know. Hopefully, I'm sure John will see this. Hopefully, he doesn't get mad at me. But I think that he was a little nervous to do that scene. I think that was the first time he's had to do that. And I've done nudity a ton. That's what keeps me employed in Portland, Oregon, is I'm a guy who's totally willing to do nudity. But I think for John, he was a little nervous to do that. He had never done a sex scene before. So
That's so sweet.
and Jax was just like, oh wait, it's fine. You'll be
She
fine,
doesn't give a
kid.
shit. I mean,
Yeah.
still, she's just like up for it. Like same in the last one, she's throwing herself about and doing dancing about and just like, yeah, I'm up for it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's funny. Jax is in real life quite a bit like Star from Mutant Vampires. I mean that really is kind of how she is in real life. But she's a hoot. I mean, on set, it's good to have that very high energy, overly positive person in your corner.
Mhm.
Because if the other actors start to get in their own head or tired, you've got
it's funny because she wasn't
Jax right
playing
there.
Gotta have that dynamic.
She wasn't playing that same character in this one.
No,
that was good to say about her range as well. She just wasn't playing exactly the same character.
Yeah.
It was only until the dance scene and the sex scene, it was like, all right, okay. And then she's back the way she was. But playing a different character, and that's cool to see. There's nothing worse than seeing just the same character through and through. But why hasn't Tim Coyle's beard got his own character record credit?
Right.
So come on, that's a character in itself.
Yes, he's so.
Beard walks into the room first, and he just kind of folds in behind it.
Yeah.
The distribution company loves Tim too. They love him. The funny thing about Tim is, I mean, he is an actor, but his trade, he's our lighting technician.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, that's where he gets all of his work. But him and I are really close friends. He's a huge horror fan as well, and he's been acting. He was kind of like struggling to get more roles. He's always getting hired to be on crew, and so I started putting him in stuff. And yeah, his beard does need a credit, for sure. I want him to play a biker. Actually, that's kind of my next big thing that I would love. Have him play like an abusive boyfriend. Because he's like the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, no, that'd be great to see that.
Yeah. Almost like a Killer Clowns type thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Biker, and then try and take on the monster, and then
right.
We never got to see what the Sleep Demon's purpose or plan was. Because it wasn't their typical.
I don't know. I kind of argue against that. It's a fucking sleep demon. It's pretty straightforward. It's an A to B type of thing. It's just trying to fuck me.
But I was getting a wee bit more from it. It was not your typical,
right.
Because of the actress, the way she played it. I was thinking there's maybe something more to the demon.
Yeah.
Because we weren't getting from Pretorius what he was actually trying to achieve. There was a wee bit of a disconnect there. And I was getting the impression that it wasn't just a simple case of accidentally opened the door and this thing came through, because it did it once, and obviously if you could just shut the door, you wouldn't be opening the door again and again. And that's where this movie kind of gives me a disconnect with the plot.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I don't have a good answer for that. I mean, to me, I was, I'm sure in the moment, if someone would have brought that up in the script, it would have been like, well, I don't know. I don't know what Godzilla's motivation is either for attacking Tokyo. It just is, it's a good conflict because it's cool. Because it's cool, man.
I mean, that's good enough reason for me.
Yes. I think what it was, because you've planted, so if you hadn't planted any seeds,
right,
I would just go along with it. But you've planted the seed with Chester.
Right.
And then you planted the seed with Victor. And then you planted the seed with Pretorius himself. And I'm trying to join the dots. Do you know what I mean? If, like I said, if it had been Chester Pretorius and one of his previous experiments went wrong and he's trying to bring his brother back.
Right.
And then the demon had him at hostage, but then maybe a bargain was going to be made. Brother for the other three or something. Something. I was expecting something like that because you planted the seeds of the story there. And then I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. And then when it doesn't, I'm like kind of like, oh, what's happening?
Right. Yeah.
Jim, that's just where I got a wee bit confused with it.
Yeah. No. That's fair. Yeah. I didn't think about that actually. I didn't think about
I
that.
told you I'm a big nerd, and I'm
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's not picking apart for the sake of
Yeah.
criticizing. It's like I love us like yourself. I love stories.
Yeah.
Tell me a story, and everything else kind of falls into place. But I'm looking for the the story beats. I'm looking to follow along the tail and to see what's actually going to play out. And then I want to make theories at the start, and either be carried along and think it's going to happen, or be disproved and then go, oh, there's the part I missed.
Right.
That made me make the wrong assumption. That's kind of the way when I really enjoy a movie, that's kind of bits I bring out when I'm doing a review. Even with slashers, that's why slashers aren't my favorite either. I enjoy them just for a bit of fun, but
right.
I can't watch like 3 or 4 slashers in a row. That's why I love horror though, because you have such an expanded range. You can watch a slasher 1 minute, a supernatural following it, and a psychological horror. You can get a whole range of stuff. Horror is just that beautiful sprinkling of gore and guts and terror on top of it, of the story.
Yeah, that was my issue with slashers too. Even with the new one that came out, it's like it basically kind of comes down to like, okay, how many, I got to have like red herrings, right? You got to like not know who the masked killer is. It's a little bit of like a Scooby-Doo format, like, where do you go with this? So I mean, that's kind of the fun with that. But yeah, supernatural film, you can really get into the weeds with different motivations for a supernatural creature and stuff like that.
And the beats for the supernatural love is somebody has invoked this thing, or offended the thing, or opened the book that they shouldn't have opened, and it's all about putting the genie back in the bottle, or appeasing the spirit. And they're always the best type of supernatural movies, where it kind of falls along those beats.
Right.
But there's always plenty of scope to refresh, and it's never the same.
Yeah, you can always do something different with a supernatural film.
Yeah.
And just finding this movie, definitely things just ramped, the pacing was cool. And it just ramped up, as the demons. The zombie things, though, I was trying to sort of fit them in, because I was thinking she was pulling them into the other portal, and then when they came back,
that was kind of the idea. There was that she can use them as minions, and that's a little bit of a carryover, I think, from a separate story that I was writing for them. It was actually like a kind of wanted to do a mummy thing, but it was like way too expensive. But I like the idea of like this kind of like mummy high priestess also having, the people who she like steals souls from to regenerate. She can kind of, then she has like these zombie minions, and it's like, oh, that would be fun. What if everyone
this would have been a good time for Chester to appear, I think.
Yes.
I would have tied it in, but obviously logistics,
right. And makeup. I mean, I'll tell you the amount of time that we were able to have the sleep demon makeup and the zombie makeup was, I mean, there was nothing. I mean, we had to shoot everything and then double back and fill in all of the creature effects in like 2 days. It was so hard. We were up until like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. one night just trying to finish it. Because I mean, even China, the actress in the demon makeup, she couldn't use her hands, she couldn't see, she couldn't do anything, and she would kind of like isolate herself in the school because she just didn't even want to be around people in that makeup. And she was like, "You have to get me out of here." So that was tough. So like the zombie stuff, there was discussion about having the other zombies in it too, but there was just no time to put anyone else in makeup.
Shame, because once again you can see, well, that's one more, and I think you can see those seeds of the story, and something's interfering,
right? Yeah,
bring it all together, and that's the frustration with watching this.
Yeah,
Because it knows
that's
what
kind
they're
of
trying to
fun
do.
of making them too. Honestly, I enjoy the curveballs. I enjoy, we also had a power outage at the school one day where we had no
Oh
power.
shit.
There's a couple of scenes we had to redo the shooting schedule for that day because we had to figure out what can we do on lights that can just be powered by V-mount batteries because we lost power for like
Fuck.
8 hours. So it was like, okay, we can
Yeah,
do this, we
damn.
can do that. The toilets didn't work for 10 hours. It was crazy. So, I mean, and everybody freaks out, right? Especially Tim, who's doing the lighting, is like
Mhm.
pissed off and, having to be like that voice of reason to go, no, we're going to get through this. We're going to do it. We're not going to fall apart here. What scenes can we do with the lights that can be powered off of battery?
Mhm.
Was that the reason for the candles, or was that the original plan?
That was definitely part of it. Also, one of my favorite filters for the lenses is a Cinebloom filter, which is like a black pro mist filter, which adds a lot of bloom to stuff. And I just like the way that candlelight looks with the Cinebloom. So it was the same thing with Ravenwood, right? It was just like, fuck it, yeah, let's use the candles. Like
Oh, yeah.
some of the lighting fixtures don't work. It looks cool. It looks pretty. It looks a lot prettier than just watching it. So that was part of it. But there are a couple of different reasons for things like that.
Nice.
Cool. And just obviously, finally, it all comes to a culmination. And obviously, you don't mind if I spoil this, but
no, not at all.
No, just obviously, the time loop aspect at the end was just it just brings me back to. Don't know if you ever seen it, 2009's Triangle.
Yeah.
Set me up.
Yeah.
We actually need to do that movie sometime.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
That
one,
was
to be
such an
honest.
underrated, brilliant movie. It's one of them you can watch again and again. But that just brought me back. I'm like, oh, that's where I love that when people do time travel right. Do time loops right. It's fantastic. Unlike say the Terminator franchise, which keeps arsing up every iteration.
Right.
You know what I mean? They couldn't do time travel to save our lives. But yeah, that whole fact that this was all a dream sequence under hypnosis and then straight back into it, and then she's caught in the time loop.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to have to go through this again and again. Is like, oh yes.
That they've been in hypnosis the entire time, which I think also made it fun to like add weird elements. And this film was maybe the one time that one of the actors had some blowback on some of my like weird game time decisions, right? They're like looking at the book and then the metronome is clicking. And that was just like spur of the moment. I was like, oh yeah, let's have the metronome going. And she's like, what? No, that doesn't make sense. It's like, no, you guys are in hypnosis. But don't.
Yeah,
don't
I was like,
tell
that
me no.
Pretty good sense.
Yeah, that was good. Obviously, hypnosis is hard to bring across anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Because people have to want to be hypnotized, so it's hard with a horror movie if somebody's resistant.
Right.
So you have to kind of rush that. So completely got that, and nobody can just pick up a book and hypnotize somebody. You have to suspend disbelief.
Right.
But you've done that aspect of it really well. Penny had more time that was that sort of aspect of what Pretorius was doing and what he was trying to achieve at the end, but didn't get to see that. That's really frustrating thing about it. And that's the sign of a good movie, though, when you want more. Do you know what I mean? If I wasn't enjoying myself, I'd be like, no, fuck, that's over and don't have to watch it again. But this one I'm like going, I want a bit more of that. That's there's a good thing there. Oh God, why isn't it there? And I want that mystery solved that was laid at the start. Where is it? Or even the fact that it never got resolved, but he's still carrying on the experiment. That was a cool thing with the time loop. Then that actually brought me right back. Going, oh, he's still doing it.
Right. Yeah.
And that's actually what tied this whole movie together.
Mhm.
From all the parts that, like I said, I was having literally points about. That actual, rather than the traditional beat the monster, everyone walks out in the sunset, monster crawls out again, doing that actually gave this whole movie a new dimension, which I actually really, really enjoyed.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, that's also like a reoccurring thing with me is I usually don't have the characters being victorious. So I always just find that to be not real. I think in every single movie
Yeah.
it kind of ends with people worse off. Why would you take all that time to fuck the world up just to like make everybody,
Just reset back the way
yeah,
it was that never happened.
right, everybody's
Everyone
okay. So
skips
you
up
can
into the
always
sunset.
expect that. I think Mutant Vampires is maybe the closest, but to oh yeah, okay, they beat the monster, but there's still more of them, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for towards the end. I was hoping for about 6 or 7 of those, monsters with
Right.
spacesuits that arrive,
Mhm.
or people getting turned.
Yeah, that was an aspect too. That was something that we just there was just no fucking way. I mean, the actor, like, we didn't have enough time and enough money to pay people to stick around to be vampires. So it was like, all right, well, let's lose that. But yeah, the sister was supposed to be a vampire after she gets turned. There was definitely supposed to be an aspect of that just kind of, I mean, the vampire ended up not even having teeth because the makeup guy was just under way too much of a time crunch. I drove him nuts. I drove Steve nuts being in that costume. I think with the amount of time that we actually had him in makeup, it's amazing that he's in the movie as much as he is, because I mean, he was like dying in that thing. I felt so bad for him. Steve, he's very, very nice, British guy, but his like kind of chav attitude will come out if you piss him off.
And that's what I sort of picked up. He's sort of watered down his East London accent.
Yeah,
I think he's
I don't know exactly. Yeah, it's like, I think it's like what is it? Shepherd's Bush, Hammersmith, that kind of area.
Yeah, that's that's just outside. In fact, that's where my last job was working down that way. Yeah, that's right in sort of central London. Heading towards the East End, it's sort of.
He's the sweetest guy ever.
Let's do this, but I got a jet. I'm about 25 minutes over what I was allowed. But I just want to say real quick before I take off, Calvin, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad we finally got you on, man, and I definitely can't wait to check out Pillow Party Massacre. Like,
and the next one after that, man. You guys helped me out so much. So anytime.
Been a pleasure, man.
All right, buddy. Catch you later.
Have a good one, guys.
All right, man. Suppose we'll just wrap up and just not really questioner. Most important question of all: what's next on the horizon?
Yeah, so Pillow Party Massacre just came out.
Now, is that the Slumber Party Massacre?
Yeah, totally. In all the massacre movies, like I said, I usually like to do things that I want to do. I've always wanted to do like a Slumber Party Massacre movie, and I kind of had this idea for this slasher, but it's not really my genre until I was out for a jog and I thought of the title Pillow Party Massacre, and I thought, oh, that's already got to be a movie, right? And it wasn't. So I was like, all right, perfect. But that one's coming out. I'm just finishing up post on this last movie, which right now is called Door to the Inferno. But I imagine, I know that they're going to retitle it something else. And then I actually produced a film for them that was actually directed by Victor in this movie, Eric Skybach, because he's a filmmaker, called Exorcism in Utero. That's his film, his script. I'm in it a little bit, but I just produced that one. And then as long as these do well, Breaking Glass is always interested in producing another one for us. So we're working on something right now for them to turn in. But you never know. I always say that, the last one could always be the last. You never know. So,
Just got to keep plugging on with it. The important thing is never give up. I say as the any creator that comes on the show and talk about, it's like the important thing is to keep cracking on. And if things don't pan out financially, think of another plan, but don't ever stop. We need more creators out there. We need people that aren't just part of the corporate sludge.
Right.
We don't need any more of that. We're getting drowned in it. And it's sad, the state of entertainment today is in the worst place ever.
Yeah.
And yes, there are movies we'll make fun of. We'll always do it in the horror genre. That's what it's all about. That's actually half the fun of it. We know that budget limitations, because the rest of filmmakers just thumb their nose down at the horror genre, which I don't know why, because that's the most passionate people involved. You can see the love in the movies that people actually want to create and make something. So maybe that threatens them.
Yeah.
That's why they have to work so hard. So never give up, mate. And thanks very much for coming on. And thanks very much for being so generous. Two fat nerds that just
no, thank you guys, man. I need this stuff. I need more people talking about it, even if someone watches it because another creator says, "Oh, this was terrible." That's fine with me, man. I need more people.
You gotta see what it's about.
I
will say
email.
This, we get one more view that through this channel that you never had. We've done our job.
Yes, 100%. So I'm always on board with it. I email other podcasts and YouTube channels and tell them, like, make fun of it, man. Just tear this apart. Just get some eyes on this. And follow 7th Street Productions and let.
Links in the descriptions, folks. By the way, so make sure you
check
all that good stuff out.
Visit
and
the
hopefully, we'll get a wee bit of. We'll talk after the stream's finished, but we'll keep people up to date with future projects. And
you're
more welcome to be on again. It'll be absolute blast.
Yeah, go watch Pillow Party Massacre. I don't know.
That's on the queue. That's already going to happen.
I don't know if I should say this, but I'm going to anyway. You can follow Breaking Glass Pictures and mention how they need to produce more movies by 7th Street Productions. I don't know. If anyone out there wants to
here, give these guys a bit more
all
time.
Your viewers,
there's there's a gem, right? There's a gem here of storytelling. Give a guy a chance to breathe and let it happen.
Yeah,
that's so. And man, that's been the major thing with your movies. Just give this guy a bit of flipping breathing space. You're onto something here, and definitely horror comedy. We want to see one of those. Just go for it. But anyway, folks, there you go. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks to everyone in the chat who turned up. I know there's a bit of conversation happening there. Didn't get to bring everybody on, but thanks everyone on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff that joined in. And keep up to date with the channel. Do the tidy clicky things. And until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.